Welcome to Navigating Marketing and AI with Sydne Mullings, the podcast that unravels the dynamic intersection of marketing strategies and the cutting-edge world of artificial intelligence.
Hi, I'm your host, Sydne Mullings. Joining us today is Jennifer Kattula, the General Manager of Marketing at Microsoft Advertising. Jennifer's primary focus is on transforming Microsoft's advertising from a search business to a powerful suite of end-to-end advertising solutions, helping advertisers and publishers get the results they need to grow while tapping into new innovations like generative AI. Jennifer recently joined Microsoft following a series of marketing roles at various organizations, including a notable 12-year tenure at Meta. Welcome to Microsoft, Jennifer, and thanks for joining the conversation.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
To kick us off, could you share a bit about your background?
I'm actually an engineer turned marketer, and after coding for a few years in the Web 1.0 period, many people might remember that, I switched over into marketing. And as a technology lover, one of my first roles in technology marketing was actually at Microsoft. So I worked in the early Bing days, working on search advertising, and just fell in love with helping take technology that is really complicated and explaining it and telling stories about it for people, advertisers, agencies. Moved over to Meta and really cut my teeth in social media and different types of connection with people, building big communities, and really saw a high growth, fast-paced organization. And then the last couple of years, I was actually at startups in the blockchain space. So really switched gears there as well, learned a totally new technology. And now I'm back here at Microsoft, and it really feels like home.
Oh, it's awesome. Tell me about your current role and what you're focused on day to day.
I lead marketing at Microsoft Advertising. We are bringing generative AI to our customers and seeing a lot of excitement around the potential of generative AI for both consumers and for our customers, advertisers and publishers and partners. As you know, the pace of innovation and the pace of new technology that we can use is just astounding. So half the battle is just keeping up with it and then helping to lead and tell the stories for our customers so that they can make sense of all of these new innovations that they can take advantage of.
One of the reasons why I wanted to have you join this conversation is your interesting role in advertising, the global nature of what you're doing, as well as this unique perspective that you have around leveraging generative AI, both in the work of your internal team, as well as with your external customers. How would you describe the journey that you're on and maybe some of even early projects or experimentation that you've started?
We all have access in the marketing team to Copilot, and we are using that tool every single day in our marketing. So whether it is helping us build a strategy or build a brief, whether it is testing out and experimenting different blog copy or experimenting with new headlines, we're doing all of that. We're experimenting with prompt engineering and specifically inclusive prompt engineering. So how do we change the tone of voice for ad copy or marketing copy, social copy, so that it will resonate with our customers, and then really learn how we can take some of those learnings and bring them out to our clients and to our partners. My personal belief is that you can practice and experiment with generative AI in literally every single part of your day or every single thing that you're doing, whether it is building materials or building marketing for external or becoming more efficient internally. So using it for taking notes, summarizing things, writing emails. We're using it across all of those dimensions. There is no playbook right now in what you're supposed to do. So I want to make sure that even our customers know that we're kind of holding hands and we're in this journey together.
I think one of the things I'd love to hear some more about is this idea you just raised about inclusive prompt engineering.
We did some research and looked at, lots of different language and words and adjectives that describe different feelings. And when you include those adjectives in your prompts, you can generate different feelings of trust. So for different industries, for example. So communicating trust in financial services might look different than communicating trust for travel. And so we wanted to get to those different sort of cuts and dimensions of bringing those adjectives and emotions into the actual prompt so that we could generate these different feelings when we get the output. And so it's been a great journey. We're still on the journey, but imagine the potential and the possibilities with that kind of learning that we can actually help guide and shepherd our clients around how to communicate with their consumers. And as we all know, as marketers, our consumers are very demanding and care a lot about the brands and the companies that they engage with. So if you can get even more nuanced in those communications and do it more quickly, it's so powerful.
Right.
So you really kind of shortcut some of those things that historically may have taken more time, like focus groups or research.
That's really brilliant. And I love that that's something that you're exploring and that you're learning about. And I know one of the things that's super important in this world of leveraging AI and generative AI in particular is this idea of responsible AI and the pillars that we have around safety and security and trust. Are there any other practices or principles that maybe you and your team have adopted in this area?
I think as much experimentation as we're doing, responsible AI is literally the first and foremost principle that we have to take. So, with as much power as that technology can have, we're taking steps and being very careful about the guardrails we're putting around the content and assets and imagery, et cetera, that we'll end up seeing and being in the outside world. And brands are already asking this question, like, how do I do this in a really safe way? It's about the experience of the end user and ensuring their safety, reliability, privacy, all those things that go with responsible AI.
That's fantastic. And I think it's a really great maybe crossover to the next area I want to explore. As you talked about some of what you are hearing from your customers and that there are demands coming from some of the organizations that you're partnering with. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you're hearing from them and maybe any themes or trends that you're seeing.
The excitement about generative AI is so high. It's probably the number one thing that people want to talk to our teams about because people are starting to see the potential. And it's not just like I talked a little bit about copy and creative, but it's also efficiency. It's also analysis. But I want to back up a minute and really start with what is the consumer experience going to be like? And this all really started with Bing Chat, which is now called Copilot. And we started to see a change in consumer behavior as they were using this tool. We started to see that search queries got a lot longer and a lot more conversational. And with that, there's just more information and more signal to deliver the right answer. And so people were getting to decisions faster through Copilot. And imagine the power of that for a marketer. You get more signal, you can deliver more personalized experiences when your consumer is able to sort of talk to this technology. And with that, we were inspired to actually build some advertising formats around it. So we call them conversational ads, the first of which is compare and decide ads. So we're able to take this and actually deliver really interesting formats for people so that they can get to their decision faster. And, that's going to really change how marketers think about the customer decision journey, how big or how small the funnel is. And so we're learning about this, but we're seeing great performance now. We're seeing higher click-through rates. We're seeing higher dwell times. So that means people are, really engaging with these ad formats.
Yeah, the theme you bring up of the speed and the decision-making process, the richness of the search people are taking, that shift in the behavior of how people are interacting with our technologies, with our advertising, with our materials that we're putting out. That's definitely a theme that's coming out across the conversations that I've been starting to have in this series. So it's super exciting. So any other trends or interesting exploration that you're seeing?
Well, we're also experimenting with new tools for leveraging generative AI internally. So one example of that is something called Insights Navigator. It's currently an internal tool that we have to arm our sellers with the ability to go ask Copilot for insights about a particular industry or a particular category, and then be able to deliver customized insights to a particular client. And so we're seeing already that these insights are extremely personalized, first of all, and they're so powerful. And the fact that you can generate them so quickly is also a huge efficiency gain. And so our sales teams are really taking advantage of this new tool. It's really brand new. It's not just a couple of months old, and leveraging it with their customers.
That is awesome.
Isn't it awesome?
It is. It's super exciting.
I know. I am blown away with how fast things are moving. I learn something new every day.
As a final note, one of the things we want to do is give any tips or anything you can share for other leaders as they're thinking about getting started in this journey, making some early exploration decisions. What kind of tips or advice would you share?
I would say first, if you haven't started experimenting, start. There will be a learning curve, and you will grasp how to take advantage of prompting your partner in crime, the Copilot, to really help you with everyday tasks. For everyone out there, leaders, please ask your teams how they're using generative AI every single day. Building that muscle as a team is absolutely critical. And I'll say, I think we've really just scratched the surface on the potential and what's possible. We are truly in a new era of technology. So it's a little bit like buckle up, get ready. It's going to be a ton of fun. Be open, and we're going to all figure this out together.
I love that. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Thank you for sharing your story and your insights. It's been an amazing conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, Sydney.